This is ridiculous, and I can't believe I have to ask if I'm an idiot, but here we go. I, female 27, have been together with my husband Nate for over 10 years and married for 4. I don't have the best relationship with my mother-in-law, as she always seems to police what I eat. Everyone in my family has fast metabolism. I'm also working with horses, so I burn a lot of calories, talking about 2.5 to 3K a day, and usually have rather large meals to get the energy back, and I remain skinny. Now to the event. My in-laws invited me and Nate for dinner last Friday. I was very busy back then and hadn't eaten since about 6 or 7 a.m. and also didn't have a chance to have a snack before heading to the restaurant, so I was starving. I usually have something to eat before seeing my mother-in-law to avoid her comments. Due to this, I ordered a large steak at the restaurant, which was meant for 2 people. It also came with prawns, bacon, and 2 sides. Please note that it was not the most expensive item on the menu, as some of my in-laws had significantly pricier dishes, and we were all splitting the bill anyway. My mother-in-law started commenting about how I shouldn't be ordering what I can't eat, since even her husband wouldn't be able to finish the dish, let alone someone my size. I smiled and said, I haven't eaten since early morning and was starving. If I didn't finish the steak, I'd take the leftovers home. I had easily finished the steak and waited for my dessert when my mother-in-law flipped. She said I'm attention-seeking and was putting on a show. She also said I've made my father-in-law and brother-in-law feel uneasy and that a woman shouldn't eat that much. It's unhealthy and something's wrong with me. She then demanded Nate and me to cover the entire bill, as she wasn't planning on such a big expenditure. I said we were absolutely not covering the bill once it was meant to be split equally, and reminded her of the dishes she ordered, which were significantly more expensive compared to my steak, including her starter. As a result, I was called an idiot who had ruined a family dinner. Nate is on my side, but most of my in-laws are making passive-aggressive social media posts about it and keep sending me different articles about what might cause excessive eating. Mainly, how my in-laws are reacting makes me think I've broken some unspoken etiquette rule everyone should know about. Not the idiot. I hope you stared your mother-in-law dead straight in the eyes as you took the last bite of your steak. Girl, eat whatever you want. Your mother-in-law needs to chill out and mind her own business. And as she ate, the mother-in-law unwittingly witnessed a feminist revolt being unleashed as a mere woman ate more than the men. Then mother-in-law gasped and withers away in misogyny as OP heeds to her happily ever after. I am baffled and infuriated by the blatant suggestion that OP should not eat her fill because she's a woman and it embarrasses the men. What the heck? I'm making a guess here, but I think your mother-in-law has an idea of what kind of woman her little boy should be with, and it's not someone that can out-eat her husband. She's making it about you being too manly by eating something her husband couldn't eat. The only show you put on was that she's full of crap, and you know your limits. She's being passive-aggressive, and she really wanted to say, I told you so, when you couldn't finish the steak. But you did, and then ordered more, and it burned her butt because she can see with her own 2 eyes that you're not overweight, and it makes her angry. Agreed. She made it a point to say that her husband and son were uncomfortable. She didn't say she was uncomfortable. I wonder if they were uncomfortable until mother-in-law opened her tiny salad and cottage cheese only eating mouth. The mother-in-law seems easy to figure out. I'm scratching my head about the other in-laws. Were they there? Maybe the mother-in-law fed them a really fanciful story. Mother-in-law probably claimed that OP ran up the bill and cost her money. The bill was going to be split equally, and mother-in-law's meal was even more expensive than OP's, so she was likely counting on more of her cost being covered by others. So she probably claimed OP cost her money and was rude to her and they don't want to be her next target, so they're piling on. This makes me wonder if the mother-in-law is overweight and is on a lot of starvation diets but can't lose the weight. She's clearly jealous, with a side of internalized misogyny. I have my son 50% of the time. It's what my ex wanted, so he didn't have to pay child support. We live in the same neighborhood, so it isn't really a big deal. Our houses are only 10 blocks apart. My ex is remarried and has a stepson, 2 years younger than our son, but about the same size. The problem is that my son has been coming home wearing clothes that are more suited to a younger boy. When his clothes get dirty, instead of washing them or giving them back to me dirty, they dress him in his stepbrother's clothes. I was nice and I would wash them, send them back, and dress my son in his clothes. After a few months of this, I gave up. He wore his brand new Minecraft t-shirt over and came home with a plain t-shirt. I went over and asked for all my son's clothes that they had. I waited while they collected everything. They brought it out to the car and said I was being an idiot because they're brothers and it's normal to share clothes. I started sending my son there in only his ratty clothes, torn jeans, stained shirts, that sort of thing. Now they're mad because it looks like they're poor and they have to buy him clothes. Since he has 50% custody, he's supposed to be doing that anyways. My son is happier because he has nice clothes here and there now. Not the idiot. I've seen this so many times, both in my friends' families and when I did family law work. Parent A buys the child's clothes, and Parent B keeps them and sends the child back with beat-up clothes. Sometimes Parent B deliberately keeps the nicest stuff, so the child looks good when Parent B takes them places, and Parent A has to buy more or be one-upped. Parent B never buys clothes for the child, despite an equal obligation, and relies on Parent A to supply everything. This particularly happens when the child outgrows winter outerwear and needs boots and coats and snow pants. You are under no obligation to send your child in nice clothes or contribute to the wardrobe of his stepbrother. A lot of not-so-great co-parenting situations tend to end up with kids having separate wardrobes for each house because one mooches or is untrustworthy. It is not particularly normal for siblings 2 years apart to share an entire wardrobe of clothes. If they want the kids to share clothes, then that clothing should be supplied by them, not you. They were being cheap to their kids and using you. Fight fire with fire. Good going, Mom. You have your son's back, and he knows it. My family just got back from a week-long cruise, and there's still some tension about this. My wife and I took our 20-year-old son, Jack, teen daughter, Cindy, young teen son, Mason, and pre-tween son, Jacob. Our oldest spent most of his time on vacation, doing his own thing, having breakfast and dinner with the family, but rarely seen otherwise. My wife and I enjoyed spending time without the kids, but we also did some couples activities. There are clubs on the boat for kids, and Mason really enjoyed them, but our youngest didn't and kept wanting to spend the day with his sister, who we'd given carte blanche to do her own thing as long as she ate with us and answered when we messaged her. She was a good sport and took our little brother on most of her adventures, swimming with him, taking him to trivia, and doing animation classes with him. This was very sweet of her and showed a great deal of maturity. On the second to last day of the cruise, I took her to the gift shop and told her to pick out whatever she wanted as thanks for looking after her brother. She was very excited and ended up picking out a dress. The dress was $80. She wore it to dinner that night, and when she told her mom I bought it for her, my wife gave me a weird look. After dinner, she asked me why the heck I did that. I explained that it was a reward for her looking after her brother. She said we can't buy an $80 dress for our daughter and nothing for our sons. I said we didn't get them anything. We took them on a cruise. My wife said I'm an idiot. I don't think so. We got some trinkets for the younger boys, about $20 worth of stuff. My wife thinks I messed up and said I should apologize to the boys. I refuse. We took our adult son on a vacation that cost thousands of dollars. He has no reason to resent his sister being rewarded for being thoughtful. If we got Jacob and Mason a really expensive souvenir, it would probably be lost or broken. She still thinks I was an idiot, though. Clarification: we never asked our daughter to babysit her brother. That's not really the case. What kept happening was that she would tell us her plans for the day, and Jacob would say he'd rather do that than go to the kids' club, and she would agree to let him come with her. So it was more than just her being a nice sister than actual babysitting. She always had the ability to drop him off at the club. That's why I wanted to reward her, because I thought it was so sweet of her not to do that and to make her brother feel good about his cool older sister wanting to hang out with him. If your wife is concerned about her children getting equal treatment, this should also include their responsibilities. It was very sweet of your daughter to spend time with her brother and allow you and your wife to have some alone time. I've seen this very often, and I've experienced it firsthand, that the women in the family are expected to contribute as caregivers for the elderly and the youngest in the family. Your acknowledgement of her work is valuable and sets a great example. You are not the idiot. Exactly, but it's only the daughter who has responsibilities. The sons should just get gifts for existing. The wife needs to sort out her issues on being treated with respect as a woman so she can learn to respect other women as well. OP is a great man. Shame about his missus. You basically paid her for babysitting. Yeah, he paid her $80 for a job anyone else would have demanded $20 an hour for. So she did a $1,000 job for a whopping $80, and the wife dares to complain about it? It sounds like the wife is expecting the teen daughter to be the third parent without complaining. I, 20 male, met my sister's brother-in-law, we'll call him Tom, 38, at her engagement party. We got along really great and continued to do so at occasional family gatherings leading up to the wedding. We never really hung out outside of these family events until this summer when I came back from college and had time to stop in when he invited me one night. Last week, his wife, my sister, his sister, and their mom, my sister's mother-in-law, were all on a girls' trip for a long weekend, so I was invited to come and stay for a night while they were gone. It was the night of July 3rd. Tom and I were sitting on his patio, sharing a smoke, and watching the fireworks some neighbors were shooting. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say there's been controversy between me and his family, but his wife has never seemed interested in engaging in conversation with me, even before anything happened. Then a few months ago, around his birthday, my sister called me to confirm that a certain birthday gift of his, a nice sweater and a bottle of cologne, was truly for me. Apparently his wife had found it and didn't believe him when he said I was the one who gifted it to him. So while I wouldn't say that there's bad blood, my sister did tell me to back off. I obviously didn't because I didn't see the harm. Anyway, there was some mix-up with the Airbnb or hotel. I'm not sure of specifics, and they returned home the night of the 3rd instead of the next day as they had planned. They saw me and Tom on the back patio, and for lack of a less cringe way to describe this, chaos ensued. The wife grabbed the smoke from my hands and told me to get out. Then my sister's older, very conservative Christian mother-in-law came out, saw we were smoking, and freaked out. She claimed she was having a heart attack and demanded to be taken to the hospital. I left. Turned out the older lady was just having a panic attack, overseeing her adult son smoking on the patio with a younger man. Oh, the scandal. My sister called me and told me that I made her look bad in front of her in-laws, and I was expected to help cover any medical expenses because I had caused this situation. I refused, and she was furious at me. So, am I the idiot for refusing to pay her mother-in-law's medical bills? Not the idiot for the medical cost, but I think you should have read that the brother-in-law's wife really doesn't want you around her husband. She thinks her 38-year-old husband has the hots for you, the 20-year-old college student. The fact that you're giving him gifts and acknowledging you won't back off despite explicitly being asked to, isn't helping. This isn't about the smoking. They think he's cheating, either with you or someone else. Sounds like a lot of drama in a china teacup, unless something's really going on between you two. If you were a 20-year-old female, I could see where the "it's inappropriate" comments are coming from. If there's a whiff that one of you guys could have the capacity to catch romantic or lusty feelings for the other, that's why there's an issue. And cologne is a very intimate gift to give someone. Honestly, my take is probably along the lines of, everyone's the idiot here. I disagree. He invited OP to his house. The family returned home unannounced, beginning to think that they were catching him doing something wrong. It's not OP's fault that his mother had a panic attack. There's something wrong with the sister-in-law and why she hates OP. Or she suspects her husband is cheating with other women and OP's covering. I mean, she is taking it out on the wrong person is the issue. It's her marriage, her problem, not OP's problem though. I have this friend, Sarah, 19 female. We're both sophomores in college. The state that we go to school in has a full ride scholarship, including books, room, and board, a MacBook, etc., that each state representative chooses a student from their district to receive. I'm an out-of-state student, so this doesn't personally affect me. Sarah's dad is good friends with her district's rep, and she was selected to start receiving the scholarship after the last recipient graduated this May. This left a bad taste in my mouth for a couple of reasons. Sarah's family is very wealthy. Her dad makes somewhere in the low seven figures annually. She grew up going to an expensive private school, and her family has been comfortably paying her college tuition, essentially annually, for the last 12 years already. She's also very religious, although I don't always agree with some of her beliefs. One of the points I used to really respect her for was that she claimed her faith inspired her to give back and volunteer. Her family donates a lot to charity, and she volunteers more than anyone I know. When she excitedly told me that she was selected for the scholarship, she could tell I was upset and asked why I wasn't happy for her. I told her that I thought it was kind of selfish for her to accept it, when the only reason she received it in the first place was because her rich dad knew the rep personally. The district she's from has some of the poorest communities in our state, and there are hundreds of students where this scholarship would make or break their ability to go to college at all. Instead, her dad buys another boat with all the money he saved. She kept defending herself and how hard her dad works. So I finally said, I just don't think accepting it when you really didn't need it and didn't earn it on its merits is very Christian. She called me an idiot, and who am I to tell her what is or isn't Christian, and left. I still don't believe I'm an idiot, but people in our circle are telling me to apologize to keep the peace. Edit. I know she only received it because of her dad's connections. She told me that the rep reached out personally to her dad to ask if she would accept it. I'm also friends with another person in her district, and they confirmed that there was no option to enter for consideration to receive the scholarship. The previous person was also the son of one of the rep's friends. Her parents are fully paying for her tuition, plus an allowance for her other expenses. You are the idiot for expecting someone privileged to acknowledge their privilege got them something that could have helped someone more fortunate. If you can't wrap your head around the fact that she lives a fundamentally different set of values than you do, you shouldn't be friends. Also, you shouldn't have involved religious beliefs in the convo. Not the idiot. Did everyone forget about the Olivia Jade rowing scholarship scandal and how angry people were because she took the spot of someone else working hard to attend college? Using your rich family's connections instead of working hard for the scholarship isn't legal. OP, you've just discovered that no one likes free stuff more than rich people. I guess you need to ask your girlfriend, when she wants to talk, whether she feels good about receiving the scholarship a poor deserving person could really use, and that it would make their world so different. Does she feel it's following her religious teachings? She knows you're right and is upset at the whole thing after being excited about the scholarship.